Losing an adult tooth is permanent, and it doesn't have to be. Your body knows exactly how to grow a new one. It's choosing not to. Here's the anatomy behind that claim. A tooth is built in layers. The outer layer, enamel, is the hardest substance in the human body, made primarily of tightly packed mineral crystals. It's formed by specialized cells called ameloblasts, and here's the critical detail. Once a tooth finishes forming, those ameloblasts disappear completely. Not dormant, not paused. Gone. Discarded by the body as if their job is permanently finished. Since enamel has no living cells within it once it's fully formed, and the only cells capable of producing more enamel no longer exist in your body, there is no biological pathway left for growing new enamel, which means there's no biological pathway for growing a new tooth from scratch. This isn't how every animal works. Sharks lose teeth constantly throughout their lives, sometimes thousands of them, and simply grow new ones on a rolling basis, an assembly line of replacement teeth moving forward to take the place of whatever falls out. Alligators do something similar. Humans, along with most other mammals, are what biologists call diphyodont, meaning we're built for exactly 2 sets of teeth over an entire lifetime. A temporary set in childhood, followed by one permanent set meant to last for the rest of your life, with no built-in backup plan after that. Picture 2 patients sitting in a dentist's chair, 500 years apart. One is a shark, in the loosest sense of the word, since sharks don't visit dentists, but bear with the comparison. It loses a tooth biting into something tough, and within roughly a week, a new one has already rotated forward to take its place. Ready to go, no different from the one before it. The other is you, sitting in an actual dentist's chair after losing a molar. The dentist doesn't even mention regrowth as an option. Not because the technology to check for it doesn't exist, but because there's genuinely nothing to check. The socket will heal over. The tooth will not come back. Same basic biological need, solved by 2 completely different evolutionary decisions, one of which happened to leave your species without a second chance. Here's where it gets stranger. The genetic instructions for continuous tooth regeneration haven't been deleted from the human genome. They're still there, inherited from a much older evolutionary lineage that includes species capable of regrowing teeth indefinitely. At some point in mammalian evolutionary history, those genetic pathways were switched off, not erased, switched off, deep in fetal development, before you were ever born. The tooth buds that produce your teeth form early in gestation, and once the set responsible for your permanent teeth has been established, no additional tooth buds are created. There's no reserve set waiting in the background. The system that could theoretically keep producing new teeth simply stops being activated permanently, and has stayed that way for the rest of your life ever since. This is where recent research becomes genuinely significant. In 2023, a research team based in Osaka, Japan, working out of the Medical Research Institute at Kitano Hospital, developed an experimental drug now known as TRG-035. The drug works by blocking a specific protein called USAG1, whose normal biological job is to suppress the development of extra teeth beyond your standard set. In other words, USAG1 isn't a mechanism that's missing or broken. It's actively, deliberately doing its job, constantly holding back a process your body is otherwise still capable of running. Block that one protein, and in animal studies, dormant tooth-forming pathways started activating again, producing functional new teeth in species that would not normally grow any beyond their standard set. The drug is now moving through human clinical trials, and researchers involved in the project have suggested a possible public availability window sometime around 2030, assuming the trials continue to go well. Separately, researchers studying certain fish species, including cichlids, which regrow their teeth continuously throughout life, have found something that adds even more weight to this picture. The tissue responsible for producing teeth in these fish appears to be more flexible, biologically speaking, than scientists previously assumed, capable of shifting between producing teeth and producing other oral structures depending on which genetic signals are active. Some of the researchers involved have suggested that the tissue lining the human mouth may retain more of this same underlying flexibility than anyone expected, meaning the barrier preventing human tooth regeneration may be less about missing biological machinery and more about which switches happen to be turned on or off at any given time. None of this means tooth regrowth is available today, or that it's a simple fix waiting just around the corner. Researchers working on tooth regeneration have been clear that even if a drug like TRG-035 succeeds in clinical trials, growing a fully functional replacement tooth involves more than just reactivating enamel-producing cells. A working tooth needs its own blood supply, its own nerve connections, and precise structural integration with the surrounding jawbone, all of which have to develop correctly for the tooth to actually function rather than simply exist. This is a substantially harder problem than regrowing a single type of tissue, which is part of why, even with active drug trials underway, full natural tooth regeneration remains years away from any kind of practical availability. What makes this more than just a hopeful medical headline is what it reveals about the nature of the limitation in the first place. For most of modern dental history, losing a permanent tooth was treated as a simple, unavoidable fact of human biology, something to be managed with implants, bridges, or dentures because there was no alternative. The research into USAG1 suggests something different. The capability was never actually gone. It was suppressed deliberately by your own body using a specific protein whose entire evolutionary purpose appears to be keeping that older system switched off. You didn't lose the ability to grow new teeth somewhere along the evolutionary way. Somewhere in your own genetic code, that ability is still sitting there, fully intact, actively held in check by a switch your body has been quietly keeping in the off position